Hello everyone, so in this problem we're going to find the extreme points of this f of x, which is x to the fourth minus 1/2 of x minus 1, between the intervals 0 and 1. 0 and 1 are both included. Now, what might be the candidates for the extreme points? First, let's consider the endpoints. These are 0 and 1, when x equals to 0 and 1. Second, they might be the point when f prime of x is equivalent to 0. Thirdly, that might be when f prime of x is non-existent. We'll consider the first case later, but first let's take a look at the expression for f prime of x. This is 4 times x to the third minus 1/2. So first let's consider the second scenario where f prime of x is equivalent to 0. So when f prime of x is equivalent to 0, x equals to 1/2. And for the third scenario, we see that for all x's, f prime of x is probably defined. So there are no points that matches the third scenario, so we only need to consider the endpoints, which are when x equals to 0 and when x equals to 1, and the case when f prime of x equals to 0. In that case, x equals to 1/2. Now, when x is between 0 and 1/2, we see that, well, f prime of x is smaller than 0. So that means between 0 and 1/2, f of x is actually decreasing. Now, between x equals to 1/2 and x equals to 1, the value of f of x is actually increasing due to the fact that f prime of x is larger than 0 between 1/2 and 1. Well, these can be verified by substituting x with 0 and 1. So we see that the local maximums happen at x equals to 0 and x equals to 1, and the local minimums happens when x equals to 1/2. And the values of local maximum when x equals to 0 will be -1, and the maximums when x equals to 1 would be -1/2. And the local minimum when x equals to 1/2 is -19/16.